When you clearly don't work somewhere, but people seem to think you do. Welcome to this episode of I Don't Work Here, Lady. Our first one is from B5 Wolf. I had a pickup order at my local orange home improvement store. I was wearing jeans, a black cami tank top, and a black leather backpack I sometimes use as a purse. Please keep this in mind. I finally got called to one of the cashiers who was obviously still in training. Trying hard, but needed to call the manager a few times. In addition, there was a bit of a delay retrieving my order. I made some idle chat with the cashier as I waited for my order to be complete. An older gentleman came up from behind me without being called from the line. He interrupted us quite rudely by asking the cashier if she was on break. Confusedly glancing over at me, she timidly replied no. He then turned to me and asked if I was on break. Realizing he thought he was busting a couple of employees slacking, I was very happy to tell him that no, I didn't work there and was a customer just like himself. He shot me another dirty look and returned to the line without saying another word. It really makes me wonder if you were an employee there, if you were just talking and you weren't on your break, if he would have asked for a manager and literally Kevin'd out. It seemed like that's what he was going for. This next one is by Unique Agency 4543. I was coming out of the gym and two guys were slapping key cards against the entry pin pads, somehow expecting it to work. They were clearly very drunk. They said I could buzz them in because their keycards weren't working. As well as having misidentified the gym as their hotel, they had misidentified me as working there when I don't work it either. It took a full 5 minutes to get them to accept that this wasn't their hotel and I wasn't the receptionist. Normally I'd have just walked off, except I was genuinely concerned they wouldn't make it back. They eventually accepted what I was saying and were quite apologetic about it. I pointed them in the direction of their hotel, which was only a 5-minute walk away. But in their state, I have no idea if they got back or how long it took them. It makes you wonder if somebody else encountered these fellows trying to use their keycards to get into somewhere else that clearly wasn't their hotel. That aside, I do hope they made it back in one piece. This next one is from Worldly Leg 74. Yesterday was quite the adventure, to say the least. I was on my way to an important meeting when my car decided it was the perfect time to start making those "I'm about to give up on you" noises. I managed to pull over to the side of the less traveled road, popped the hood, and stared blankly at the engine, as if my intense gaze would fix whatever the issue was. Spoiler, it didn't. Remembering I had roadside assistance through my insurance, I called them up, and they quickly dispatched a mechanic, promising Eddie would arrive in about 45 minutes. I got a confirmation text with the ETA, and so the waiting game began. Eddie was due at 4:30 p.m., and at 4:28 p.m., a truck pulls up behind me. A guy jumps out, greets me with a warm smile, and asks what the trouble seems to be. I explain the situation and he nods, already moving to take a look at the engine. Like a pro, he immediately suspects the problem, grabs a tool, some kind of fluid from his truck, and gets to work. In no time, my car is running great. As he wipes his hands off on a rag, I ask about the paperwork I need to sign for the insurance. He looks at me puzzled and says, "No need, I just saw you looked like you needed help." It started to dawn on me. I asked if he was Eddie. "Nope, I'm Mike, just passing through and thought I'd lend a hand." My jaw must have hit the floor. I'd just let a total stranger tinker with my car and literally get his hands dirty, where I just stood there doing nothing and being completely useless. Embarrassed, I tried to pay him something, but he refused, saying, "Don't worry about it, just help someone else out when you get the chance." Mike left as casually as he'd arrived, leaving me stunned. After waiting another 5 minutes for Eddie, I just decided to leave. I called my insurance to cancel the service call, explaining that a random Good Samaritan had fixed my car before their mechanic could arrive. So here's to you, Mike, the unexpected hero of my day. Your random act of kindness was a bright spot in what could have been a very stressful situation. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say I think the world needs more Mikes. I mean, in this day and age, it's a very risky thing to pull over to the side of the road to try to assist somebody because you don't know if they have any malicious intent. Or hell, you don't know if somebody pulling over to the side of the road to assist you has that malicious intent. But this situation is just wholesome all around, and honestly, I really wish the world had more interactions like this. And our final one is by SMTHCT666. All employees are wearing fancy black clothing, while I'm literally wearing a bright green bomber jacket. Wild hair day, socks with Birkenstock sandals. My dad and I are waiting in line to be seated at Dan Modern, while she impatiently waits for her online order behind us. I don't resemble my white dad very much, and he isn't super talkative. She doesn't seem to realize we were together when trying to get my attention. Excuse me? Sorry, what? She goes on to angrily bitch and rant about her order, how long she's been waiting, and is clearly trying to take her anger out on me. I'm super confused and finally cut her off when I realize why she's telling me all this, quickly saying, I don't work here, but sorry to hear. Ah! She immediately goes back on her phone and coldly refuses to make further eye contact until we got seated. I don't know, she must have been about my age, mid-20s and embarrassed. She should be. I was clearly a customer. I don't know why anyone would make this assumption outside of racial appearances, but let me know. Wish I could show pics of my attire versus the server's pulled back hair, name tags, uniform. I would have loved a legit apology because at the time, it felt like she was angry at me for existing there. Or maybe I should have embarrassed her further, but my automatic response to others' anger is to people please, especially when it's directed at me. Oh well, hope she learned to chill the fuck out. I definitely think she embarrassed herself and most likely retreated into the safety of her phone. Or what she wanted to do was just have somebody to bitch to. I don't know. Either way, when a place has a clear uniform, I still cringe when people fuck that up. Alright, that's enough stories for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of I Don't Work Here Lady. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.